Great good morning, everyone. It is a beautiful Thursday, August 27, year of our Lord, 20 and 26, 9:14 a.m. on my Cordaro Jewelers watch. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, broadcasting today from the United States of America, the place for the brave, like the veterans we salute today, thanks to our man, John Basiliga, and his great Basiliga Hospitality Group. These are veterans we've lost this year, but celebrate today, thanks to John. Like Michael Barnofskis, Dixon City. Kenneth Dolph, Lake Waynwood, Lake Ariel. Paul Breezy Bradigan, late of Virginia, but he was from Dunmore. And Peter Latona, Pittston. The United States of America, founded with a certain knowledge and understanding by our irreplaceable, profoundly wise founding fathers who knew that government should not be and set about to make sure it would not be. Our parent, our guide, our salvation. Not any of these things, because they knew that government power means less freedom, less liberty, less choice. They also knew that because of human nature, government size would be abused. The United States of America, the country where for the first time in human history, freedom was declared by law to be an unalienable right granted to each individual by God. Freedom couldn't be parceled out to groups. It couldn't be controlled by government or government officials because our great American Constitution ensures and codifies freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of association, economic freedom, and freedom of the press. Now, because they were armed with these freedoms, and only because of that fact, these Americans, a ragtag bunch of immigrants, many of them rejects from around the world, they and their progeny created the richest, most powerful, most culturally diverse and accepting nation ever to grace our planet Earth. America, the only place specifically invented and designed so that every American can live their life in the manner they choose, unlimited by their background, upbringing, race, color, or creed, unhindered by the government or those who would use government to control others for their own comfort, benefit, or power. This Bob Cordaro Show will always be convincingly conservative, lovingly logical, proudly and passionately patriotic, and reliably right. And so, we gavel to order today's meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you that our total, immersive, immovable commitment to common sense will provide a sanctuary of sanity to all of you who hearken here for the balance of this singular, extraordinary morning. Well, great to be with you guys. Roach Supply, as always, you'll see the banner if you go to YouTube and check out our live stream under Bob Cordaro Show, WILK. You will find Roach Supply sponsoring it all, the premier bath and kitchen supplier in Northeast Pennsylvania. 75 years in business. Visit roachsupply.com today. Special mention, I don't have any clips or anything, but Fred Duckman, he just wanted to remind me that this morning, Tim Curry died. Now, you would know him from various parts. He was sort of the evil, this is the one that you may know him from. He was the evil hospital or hotel employee in, what was it? The Macaulay Culkin thing. Bulldog is no help with this kind of stuff. Home Alone 2. Bulldog knew. Home Alone 2. But they also say, Fred Duckman said, he was also in the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And he was also the voice of King Chicken in Duckman, one of my favorite cartoons. So anyway, Tim Curry's a salute. He's not going to get the acclaim that Dolly Parton did, but Dolly Parton probably the most liked and the least disliked person on the planet. Somebody texting that guy screaming to start. That's Kevin James. The guy saying start your engine is absolutely horrible, hurts my ears. I've heard that. But it's fun. It fires me up. You want me fired up, don't you? By the way, I'm watching on my monitor. And I don't remember, but one of you guys sent me this disaster in Nepal. It was unbelievable. They called it a flash flood, but they actually don't know what it is. Did part of a glacier break off in the mountains, and then this flood of water came down with virtually no warning, and it's probably going to result in thousands dying. The film is unbelievable. Watching Mother Nature, it's really unbelievable. Channel 2822 News did a little story on our guy Joe Barna's funeral yesterday. That was nice. Joe laid to rest yesterday. So lots happening. By the way, Carolyn Levitt, probably the best press secretary of all time. She is leaving her position today. And she was awesome. I don't know. I would not want to be the one to replace her because it is almost impossible to do. Incredible. All right, we'll take a break. 9:21 on my Ricardo's watch. We'll be back. Lovin' Spoonful. Murph tells us this date, 1966. They moved up to number one with their hit Summer in the City, just as summer was waning, as it is for us, of course. Bob Cordaro back. So we've got this little kerfuffle, and my man G-Dunk sent me something on it to reminded me of it. Paige Cognetti, who posed with this. I've got to tell you, I have no problem with drag queens. Does that sound odd? Whatever you want to do, not in front of kids. It's too screwed up for kids. It's adult entertainment if that's the kind of thing you enjoy. But this guy, and I mean, he calls himself Chlamydia Burns. Yeah, that's real. That's real child entertainment. That's family entertainment. But he posed with Paige Cognetti in an LGBTQ event. And it's on the commercial that Rob Bresnahan's running, showing what a lunatic Paige Cognetti is. And Chlamydia Burns, he's trying to raise money to sue. For what? You want the publicity for your nonsense. I don't get it. Anyway, Cognetti, hiding behind Chlamydia Burns, she wouldn't answer anything about it. She wouldn't talk about it. But she attended a fundraiser in Pittsburgh, another out-of-town fundraiser, because everybody here knows her gig. Sean Malloy was there. Who's Sean Malloy, you ask? Vice President of Political Programs at LGBTQ Plus Victory Fund. So the entire left-wing lunacy, she's in on it. And do not let her deny it. She's not normal. I'm sorry. Very sorry. She's not normal. And don't let her lies cover that fact up. Dear Lord. By the way, excavator guy emailed in. He said, and I saw this, Pete Hegseth, Secretary of War, he awarded 3 Marines from the Abbey Gate suicide bombing the Bronze Star with valor. He stated that the prior administration downgraded their awards, but the current administration has the military's back and awarded them with what they deserve. Yep. See, Biden was embarrassed because he caused those 13 deaths, because he wanted to make a speech on the 20th anniversary of 9/11 to say how great he was getting out of Afghanistan. And it resulted directly in 13 deaths. That sickening, disgusting husk of a human being, Joe Biden. And so Pete Hegseth righted it. My gosh. They actually downgraded their awards because they were embarrassed of the death and destruction they caused with his withdrawal. Unreal. It really is unreal how disgusting they were. People, you've got to remember it so you go out and vote and end this Democrat Party. Today's Democrat Party has got to be ended. They've got to be thumped at the ballot box. They're an absolute disgrace. Unbelievable. They want America to be a 24/7 freak show. Criminals running wild. Any expression of your individuality is okay in public. All of that. Somebody texts in, Bob, I don't want you fired up. I want you fired. Oh, good for you. Somebody else, a more normal person, Tim Curry was the voice in the animated Traveling Woolberries. Never heard of that, but good. Yeah, he was probably one of those guys that was all around, and respected by fellow actors and everything. And, never reached peak of fame or whatever, character actor, if you will, role player. So good for him. 9:30, I'm at Picardo's Watch. We'll take this break. I want to hear from our great sponsors, and then we'll come back, Veterans Tribute, weather, and more. Our Veterans Tribute today, as with every day, this hour, as with every hour, brought to you by John Basiliga. Loyally, patriotically, dutifully. And on Thursdays, we make sure that we talk about Basiliga Hospitality Group, because you're headed in the weekend, and tonight might be a nice night to go out. 3 great bar restaurants that you really should check out. The Old Brook Inn, 307 Springbrook Township. The Far Street Tavern on Far Street in the Great Trips Park section of West Scranton. And the Queen City Tavern right in downtown Oliphant. Coming soon in September, Coney Island Lunch, the reimagined tradition on Lackawanna Avenue. It'll be accompanied by Reagan's Ice Cream Shop right next door, named after his daughter. Michael Bernofskis. We lost him August 10th. He was 79. He was from Dixon City. Born in Scranton, a carpenter by trade, but he was a published poet, a philanthropist, and a member of Cathedral of St. Peter, that parish. Michael volunteered to join the Navy and was a proud veteran of the Vietnam War, serving his country with honor and dedication. He's survived by one brother and his wife, his sister-in-law, also survived by dear friends and caregivers, Greta Luong and Marquis Phelps. Preceded in death by 2 brothers and 3 sisters. He asked that people wishing to donate in lieu of flowers to the charity of your choice, because he was a generous supporter of many charitable causes. Michael Barnauskas. Kenneth Dolph. He was 102 when we lost him August 10th. He was from Lake Waynwood, Lake Ariel. His wife is the former Johanna Snyder. Born in Scranton, veteran of the U.S. Navy Seabees, serving in the Pacific Theater during World War II. He was a recipient of the Purple Heart Award for injuries sustained while serving. A graduate of the Scranton school system and Lafayette College, Ken devoted his career to advancing industrial growth in the region, serving for many years as executive director of the Lackawanna County Industrial Development Authority. He supported veterans as well through activities such as the Armed Forces Week, and he fostered individual opportunity through his work with Family Services of Lackawanna County. He was a longtime member of the Covenant Presbyterian Church in Scranton. Surviving, in addition to his wife, are his sons, 6 grandchildren, 6 great-grandchildren. Sadly, he was preceded in death by his son, Robert, and his first wife, Mary Lou Snyder Dolph. Kenneth Dolph and Michael Bernoskis are veterans this hour, brought to you by John Basiliga and the Basiliga Hospitality Group. AccuWeather forecast brought to you by the great gang at Montage Mountain. And it's a great water park week, I'm telling you. Today, humid. Passing morning shower followed by a couple of showers and maybe a heavy thunderstorm this afternoon. Storms can bring flash flooding and damaging winds. Let me cross that out so I don't read it again. You know what storms can bring. High 82 today. Showers and heavier thunderstorm tonight, low 64. Tomorrow, clouds giving way to some sun. It'll be humid with a thunderstorm in parts of the area on Friday, high 82, low 57. Saturday, less humid, sunshine, a few clouds, a beautiful start to the weekend, high 83, low 58. Sunday, intervals of bright sunshine with a shower in spots, humid, high 85, low 66. Monday, humid with intervals of clouds and sunshine, an afternoon shower in spots, high 83, low 65. And that's your weather, brought to you by the great gang at Montage Mountain, where the water park has all kinds of specials going on as the summer draws to a close. 69 degrees right now at Montage. The Beatles. Murph tells us this date, 1966. They moved to number 52 from number 8 with their hit, Yellow Submarine. By the way, you can reach us here by phone or text at 570-883-0098. Yeah, one of the listeners texting, good morning, Bob, ALTS. Back at you. I have to laugh when I see Paige Cognetti's TV ad trying to call out Rob Bresnahan for insider trading. She never called out Nancy Pelosi for all the years that she actually did the inside trading. What a hypocrite and a liar. Yeah, that's what she is. A hypocrite and a liar. And a left-wing lunatic. And incompetent. There's 4 descriptions of Paige Cognetti. Somebody else on Curry, Tim Curry. Bob, Curry was in many movies and TV shows. Clue the movie, Hunt for Red October. That's right. He was a Russian that he always played like somebody you don't like. He was in Monk, Roseanne, plus many more. Great actor, says Cabinet Guy. Yeah, isn't that great, though? He's got all that to point to in terms of his career. Pretty neat stuff. Well, we haven't heard from him in a little bit, so it is a pleasure to hear from Angelo from Madisonville. Angeloots, what's happening, man?
Buongiorno. Come stai? How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I want to tell you about Gary. He did the craft show in Madisonville, Pennsylvania there last Saturday. He
Who's
said,
this
man,
now?
I'll tell you. Madison Township there, it was a great show. And I went to his stand and I said, how much for this Cleveland Browns thing? He said $1. I said, come on now, seriously. Everything at that thing was $1. You know, there was food trucks. I stayed away from the food trucks. Whose
stand was this now? Who's the guy?
Gary. I can't remember his last name. Him and his wife. He says, you tell Mr. Cordaro that he's got the best show on there. And he says, it sounds real good when you call, you know.
Well, you do add a little spice to the mix. You do. We love you.
He goes, you are Angelo from Madisonville, right? I said, now, how would you know that? He said, I recognize your voice. I said, come on now. Somebody must have told you. He said, no, really. I mean, you got a certain voice there, you know. And he says, there's something wrong with you. You know that, right? I said, yeah. I knew that for almost 72 years, buddy.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
But, I mean, it was a great time. And then I wanted to tell you about Friday night over in Madisonville. They have a guy that makes, homemade beer. And I can't remember, the different flavors. But you know what? I don't drink. I'm allergic to alcohol. And, every time I drank it, I broke out in handcuffs. So I had to quit. But the thing is, it's Curran's, and it's great. They have other things. They got food truck.
What's going on at Madisonville Friday?
Yeah, it's Curran's. It's a brewery.
Oh, okay.
They make, I'll tell you what a nice place. Beautiful pavilion, a nice lake that you could.
And you go to all these places, Angelo, and you behave yourself. Isn't that something?
It's amazing, isn't it? Like they said. Well, you're still as wacky as ever, but you don't drink, huh? I said, listen, do I have to? I mean, I don't have to have fun that way. You know what I mean? Like August 23rd, 1983, it was 43 years
wow.
that I quit. And people say, well, that's great. It's no big deal. I just didn't enjoy it. And I quit before I became an alcoholic, you know what I mean? Because I wasn't sure about A&A, A&A, I thought it was an antique car club. I didn't. But I just wanted to tell you about, there's so many good things going on. Now, Wood Winery, they have a gig going on at Schuler's Barn. And, in a couple of weeks, Tony Vernetti and Robbie Walsh. They'll be playing there.
Oh, they're great.
And it's, oh man, I'll tell you what. That barn, that family, they've been there for over 100 years. The barn is, I think it was built in the early 1800s. The only thing new was the floor and the roof.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I was there a week ago, and it was jam packed, and it was great. You know, I couldn't do the Angelo Mecca shuffle because I was surrounded by blondes, brunettes, redheads, and the whole table was full with everybody that I went to school with. You know what I mean? You know, from seventh grade, after the nuns threw me out of Dunmore, you know, up North Pocono. You know what I mean? It's amazing how I still are in touch with a certain group. I had a crew. You know
Well,
what I mean?
speaking of making his comeback, is our man Sid Hallinan's coming back, your classmate at St. Anthony's.
Oh, that's good.
He's making his
That's
comeback
good.
as weekend warrior, maybe even tomorrow.
Oh, I can't wait to listen to him. Yeah, I tell you, he knows his stuff, don't he?
Yes. Hey, Angelo, we got to go, my man, but thank you. Always a pleasure, my man.
Okay, God bless you.
All right,
Bueno,
Angelo from Madisonville. We'll take a break. We'll be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. The Eagles, Murph tells us, this date, 1975, they were on their One of These Nights tour at the Las Vegas Convention Center. He chose One of These Nights from that album. Bob Cordaro back on the program. And, of course, U.S. troops, this date, 1945. They land in Japan after Japan's surrender in World War II, and our victory is complete. Oh, and at what a price. At what a price. We have World War veteran today, Kenneth Dolph, World War II veteran. Amazing. What a country. What a group of people that saved this world, literally, from Nazism, fascism, communism. Wow. They were amazing. And speaking of historical, we're going to be talking at 10:05 to John Jenkins. He's the author of Summer of 71, 5 Months That Changed America. We'll talk to him about that. That was certainly a tumultuous time. We'll find out why he thinks Summer of 71 was a pivot point. But amazing stuff. And I'm looking forward to that conversation. 570-883-0098. Just a reminder that you can catch us on 103.1 FM, 910 AM, Scranton area, 980 AM, Wilkes-Barre area. And then, of course, on Odyssey, AUDACY, Odyssey app, or I just go to WILKnewsradio.com, or, of course, on YouTube, WILK, Bob Cordaro Show. And that's brought to you by Roach Supply. Roach Supply, the premier bath and kitchen supplier in Northeast PA, celebrating 75 years in business. Visit roachsupply.com today, ROCHE, or go to their store in Honesdale or their store called Chapman Supply in South Abington Township. 96-year-old veteran Ron Roach at the helm. Great family, great gang. I'm watching the jury instructions on my monitor in the, what's her name? Well, it's the Clancy trial. Lindsay Clancy. There we go. We're not going to have Dominic Morocco on today. We'll have him on tomorrow because the closing arguments are going to take place after these instructions. Now, jury instructions, one of the things that the defense, and I believe won here, is they got a manslaughter charge in there. I have no idea how these brutal murders fit into a manslaughter charge. Manslaughter is when you didn't intend the death, but it occurred. Well, it's an off-ramp for the jury. So they've basically got three options. Not guilty by reason of insanity, murder, which is what it was. Let's be blunt here. And now manslaughter. So the odds are stacked in favor of the defendant here. I don't think the prosecution did that great of a job. I mean, I would have been waving those bands, those exercise bands that she choked them with. I would have been waving them around in court. I would have made sure that the pictures of the children after they were slaughtered were shown to the jury repeatedly. And I think a lot of people in the public would have had a slightly different view of this if they had seen the result of this woman's actions. So, I mean, everybody has compassion for her, including myself. I truly do. I see that side of it. Her lawyer was outstanding. He was a sympathetic figure representing a monstrous act, but he was able to, in the country's minds, we'll find out if he did so in the jury's minds, he was able to separate this horribly monstrous act from the monstrous person who did it. That's an incredible feat. I don't know if that's justice, but that's what our jury system is for. It can find the best result the most times possible given the human condition. And so the instructions are going to happen. Hopefully they've got to be done by this morning. Closing arguments in the afternoon, and then the jury's going to deliberate, and we'll talk about that tomorrow. But again, John Jenkins, Summer of 71, coming up after this. 10 o'clock and change on my Cordaro Jewelers watch. Time for the news with Brian Hughes. We'll be back. You know it does, baby. Great good morning, everyone. It's 10:07 a.m. on my Picardo Jewelers watch. This beautiful, what is it, Thursday? It's unbelievable. August 27th, year of our Lord 2026. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, and it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values, and honor, with the help of our man John Basiliga and his great Basiliga Hospitality Group, the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like veterans we've lost this year, but celebrate today thanks to John. Like Paul Bradigan, late of Virginia, but he was from Dunmore. Peter Latona, Pittston. Michael Barnoskis, Dixon City, and Kenneth Dolph, Lake Waynwood, Lake Ariel. So with history, our amazing founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. Gaveling back to order today's meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you that our deep and unalterable commitment to common sense will provide a sanctuary of sanity to all of you who hearken here. And great news, we've been telling you this after it happened, the FDA has approved this program for idiot medicine. The Bob Cordaro Show, your proven cure for idiocy. And if you hearken, as we prefer to say, you will no longer be an idiot. Isn't that great? You've got that option. So I got sent a book by John Jenkins. It was called The Summer of It is called The Summer of 71. 5 months that changed America. And it really is awesome. And John Jenkins, a multi-award-winning journalist. He's an author, a publisher, entrepreneur. He's written a couple of books, Partisan, The Life of William Rehnquist, and, of course, this book today, Summer of 71. Hundreds of features for major magazines, United States and abroad, New York Times Magazine, GQ, Washington Monthly, all of that. 4-time recipient of the American Bar Association's Gavel Award, Certificate of Merit, founder of Law Street Media, and so much more. Really fascinating. And he is here, and he is with us. Mr. Jenkins, welcome to the Bob Cordaro Show.
Hey, Bob. Great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Talk to me about this book. What caused you to write it? Like, what was the inspiration? What was the impetus?
Okay, well, first of all, the thing to know is that this was the summer of 71 was the summer that I began as a reporter in Washington. There are not many journalists now left that are still working that can report what occurred in the summer of 1971, which were some momentous things under the administration of Richard Nixon. So first, I began thinking, I want to write a memoir about this time. But it really morphed into a description of 5 months that 70% of Americans were not alive to experience. Most of the people in this country were not here in 71. They don't realize history rhymes, if not repeats.
Yeah.
And many of the things that happened under Richard Nixon and his administration that summer, I hope we get a chance to talk about some of them, are occurring again right now. And anyone who feels that there's overreaching, as there was also in 71, one of the things I want to say is this too passes. This too shall pass.
Yeah.
And no matter how you feel about the events that are occurring in the country right now, this happened before. And the democracy, the Congress, the courts, the journalists among us all did their job in the end, and we had heroes. So that's really what the book is about. But the 5 months that occurred have been very, very seldom talked about or written about, because what happened a year later with Watergate, that consumed everyone's attention, and all of the media coverage of Nixon kind of focuses on Watergate, the impeachment hearings, and the hearings of the Watergate Committee. But there was so much more that happened that summer, and it's so reminiscent of what is happening right now. I wanted to write this book. That's why I did it. the take up and the response, including I'm so glad to be on your show today, has really been amazing, and I'm enjoying talking about it.
John Jenkins, our guest, he's the author of Summer of 71, The 5 Months That Changed America. Now, you break it down, not coincidentally, into 5 sections. Tell us about these sections one at a time.
Okay, so we begin with the book begins with the backstories, because in order to understand these 5 months that happened, you really have to understand the main characters in these events that happen later, and what their background and what their history is. So I begin by talking about Daniel Ellsberg, a guy named Daniel Ellsberg. Some of your listeners may remember him. Neil Sheehan, a reporter for the New York Times, who broke the Pentagon Papers, and we can talk about what's interesting is that many people don't remember or recall or know what the Pentagon Papers were, but they were documents that had been created. They were secret, but they were documents that had been created by the government, by the Defense Department, as a secret history of the Vietnam War. The New York Times got those documents from Daniel Ellsberg, who had worked on them, and published them. So the story begins with Daniel Ellsberg and Neil Sheehan and their relationship going back into the 60s, but culminating in 1971 in the Pentagon Papers. Then we have May Day. May Day was, look, we had a war going on that in some ways is reminiscent of today. It was causing inflation. And that's also a part of the book. It was causing inflation. It was deeply unpopular, unlike today. One thing that was very different, we were losing tens of thousands of Americans in Vietnam. So we ended up losing 57,000 soldiers in Vietnam, our side, and hundreds of thousands more. And there were protests against this war. About 35,000 of those soldiers were killed during the administration of Lyndon Johnson. But then Nixon came in, and there were another 22,000 lives lost then. So there was a huge, actually the largest to this day, the largest demonstration in our country's history. It wasn't January 6th. It was this May Day demonstration that occurred, and it was an attempt to shut down the city of Washington. Nixon and his Attorney General, John Mitchell, devised, and also William Rehnquist, of whom I'm the biographer. William Rehnquist was in the Justice Department then. He was a young man in the Justice Department. They devised a scheme to arrest all of these demonstrators by declaring a limited martial law that was actually undeclared, unrevealed, except in a document between Rehnquist and Nixon. So they arrested 13,000 people that were demonstrating and penned them in an outdoor jail outside of RFK Stadium in Washington. So that's how the story begins.
Even for me, somebody that lived through
from there.
John Jenkins, even for someone who was, I was young, but who lived through 71, it is still, when you repeat and delineate what the specific history was, we didn't remember any of that. That's incredible. Outdoor 13,000 person jail. Wow.
and one thing, Bob, we have a website for this book. The website is interestingly enough, summerof71.com, summerof71.com. And I've got a trailer on a 3-minute video that really describes the book vividly. And one of the images that we have in the book, but also in the trailer, is the outdoor jail that was created because 13,000 people were arrested. The city had nowhere to put them. And so they literally had a practice field. In those days, the Washington Redskins were practicing outside of their own stadium in a penned-in area that was a 100-yard football field just out in the park, basically in the parking lot. That's how much things have changed in 55 years, right?
Yeah.
So now they have a great practice facility in Ashburn, Virginia, and so forth, so on. By the way, Washington, D.C. is the city of my birth. It's where I've lived my entire life. And I've been a reporter in that city for 55 years. So these guys are all thrown into this jail, so-called, but they don't even have basic services. There's no bathroom facilities, no water. no food. So people are visiting and throwing food over the fence. Ultimately, the everyone was released, and all these arrests were expunged, and the ACLU filed a lawsuit and won damages on behalf of everybody that had been incarcerated. But that's one of the things. And then, listen, but it gets very interesting. Angela Davis plays a very important, and she's still alive. Angela Davis plays a very important role in this book because we had a group of men, prison activists, called the Soledad Brothers. The Soledad Brothers were incarcerated at Soledad Prison in California, and there was a plot to break them out by the younger brother, the 17-year-old brother of one of these prisoners. The plot was he would take a courtroom hostage, basically, including a judge, and then hold those hostages until the Soledad brothers in prison were released. I don't know if any of your listeners remember that. It's so vivid because this occurred at a courthouse in San Rafael, California, and there were news photographers that were there for other reasons, just to take photos of people going in and out of the courts. And so that this entire event was fully documented. It ended up killing the judge and 3 other of the inmates that were trying to escape. And this led to the kind of courtroom security that we have today. And at the bookend of this, at the other end, and I hope we get a chance to talk about more of this, but at the other end of the summer was the Attica uprising.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you remember Attica, but in September of 1971, as a result of some of the incidents relating to the Soledad brothers, the Attica prison, which had thousands of men in upstate New York, became the scene of a riot and hostage taking of guards. And Nelson Rockefeller brought in the sharpshooters from the New York State Police, and ultimately 44 men were killed, including guards, but mostly prisoners, to quell that uprising. So it was just a very, very memorable time, and I believe it has not been fully ever written about until this book.
Well, it's an incredible book. John, can you hang on with us through a commercial break?
Absolutely.
All right. We're talking with John Jenkins. He's the author of Summer of 71, 5 Months That Changed America. We'll take a break on the Bob Cordaro Show and come back with John Jenkins regarding the book. defense closing arguments in the Clancy trial as I speak. Kevin Reddington, the defense attorney who really has captured America. Somebody asking, Bob, was the woman who killed the kids denied help because of health insurance coverage? And the answer, as far as I know, the answer to that is no. Mother Teresa, St. Teresa, for today. She says, what you spend years building, someone could destroy overnight. Build anyway. That's Mother Teresa, St. Teresa for today. Thank you, Mary Regina, as always. We're speaking with John Jenkins. He's the author of Summer of 71. This book it's really an extraordinary history of a time that's been overlooked. And we're going through it just a bit with John right now. Mr. Jenkins, tell us at the same time that all these things were going on, Richard Nixon, not known as a domestic policy president, he's moving towards the Democrat Party and what was the left with environmental and consumer protections. People forget that Patrick Moynihan was doing the family assistance plan, which was basically universal income. So a lot of things that we talk about today, he was moving forward with, but he wasn't getting a lot of credit, was he?
He was definitely moving forward with a lot of what would be considered progressive. Was he getting credit? Here's what I would say. Nixon, this is very, very significant, I think, also in contrasting him with our current president, right? Both of these guys were, in their own way, cults of personalities, but Nixon was an institutionalist. He really believed in the institutions of politics and government, and one of the things that really impelled him, even though his instincts were very conservative. This is true, Bob. His instincts were very conservative, but he was the first president in over 100 years to come into office in 1969 with neither house behind him. He did not have the House and he did not have the Senate. Very different from today. Okay, very different from Trump's first term and also from the beginning of his second term. So Nixon, by necessity, had to kind of move to the middle in order to govern. And he did that. I mean, what's really interesting is his first 2 years, this is not in the book, but it's an interesting incident in 1970 in which there's a Republican, Charles Goodell, running for the Senate. and Nixon actually says he is the Christine Jorgensen of Agnew was Nixon's attack dog. Spiro Agnew was his vice president at the time. And they attack Charles Goodell, and they basically make sure that Goodell loses. And a guy named James Buckley from the Conservative Party in New York wins the Senate seat in 1970. But typically, with that exception, Nixon was moving to the middle. He signed the Environmental Protection Act. He was some historians say that he is one of the 5 environmental presidents of our time. He was in favor of the Equal Rights Amendment. He believed in choice in terms of right to life and abortion, but he was not an active proponent or protagonist in that debate. And by the way, May 3rd, 1971, that is when the Supreme Court took up Roe versus Wade. Yeah. It was knocked off the front page by the May Day demonstrations in Washington, but that also was very significant that summer. So I would say clearly you're right. Nixon was moving to the middle. He was attempting to conciliate with the Democrats. What happened? What happened? Pentagon Papers happened. Nixon inherently mistrustful and paranoid. That's not a trope. That is true. Yep. He was. If you listen to the White House tapes, that is true. So inherently mistrustful and paranoid about people out to get him, even though he was not a subject of the Pentagon Papers. Pentagon Papers were about the history.
That's the
before
incredible
Nixon.
part. The Pentagon Papers had nothing to do with Richard Nixon's Vietnam policy. It preceded him.
But
unbelievable.
Yeah. but here is the thing. It did have to do with Henry Kissinger.
Yeah.
And Henry Kissinger was in the last volume of the Pentagon Papers, and he had been a player during the Paris peace talks. I mean, we're really getting into kind of into the history here and into the weeds. But Kissinger was very, very much in the last volume of the Pentagon Papers, and it was Kissinger who did not want those out and who persuaded Nixon and his Attorney General to go after the New York Times in what was and I describe this vividly in the book. I think it's one of my favorite parts of the book, just as a journalist, to be describing finally, after all these years, all the machinations behind the scenes that enabled Neil Sheehan and the New York Times to publish the Pentagon Papers.
Well, Kissinger he knew better maybe than anyone how to prey upon Nixon's worst instincts, and he did so for his own benefit.
Yes, he did. But he's also Teflon. He was Teflon. He lived to be 100, and he had an amazing career and made a lot of money, and only recently left us.
Yeah. Incredible stuff. Well, John Jenkins, your book, Summer of 71, 5 Months That Changed America. Where is it available?
It's available it should be available in every bookstore. Go to the Penguin Random House website. Just put the information into your browser, and you will find it. It's on Amazon. It's at Barnes and Noble, and wherever good books are sold. I'm on a nationwide speaking tour about this book, so a lot of bookstores have it. And if you're within the sound of my voice, go to my website and look to see where I might be coming to your city next.
This is great stuff. And again, it has its own website, Summer of 71. Good stuff, great history. And you play it straight down the middle. I appreciate that so much. Thank you, John Jenkins. We appreciate it, and we hope that this book is read by many because it's important.
I'm so appreciative of your comments, Bob. Thank you, and I'm glad to be here with you this morning. And have me back anytime.
We'll do that. We will for sure. Thank you, John Jenkins. Appreciate it.
Great.
We'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, 10:31 on our Bacardo Jewelers watch. We'll be back. Our Veterans Tribute this hour brought to you, as always, by John Basiliga, a brand in and of himself. And, of course, the great Basiliga Hospitality Group. And we talk about the great bar restaurants, but then you want fine dining, the best atmosphere, the best food, the best service, exquisite dining experiences. And they can take place at Atera 519, downtown Scranton. Just one of my all-time favorites. And they've got great options that are affordable for happy hour, for bar food, all of that. You can experience Atera in all its glory for something you can handle regularly. Chef Alex Diaz. He's reduced prices on the menu. He's revamped the menu, and it is awesome. And for an old world take on the same exquisite dining experience, you have the Stegmeyer Mansion, downtown Wilkes-Barre, South Franklin Street. Awesome. The same great money-saving and value propositions in one of the best atmospheres you will ever dine at. An amazing event space as well, the Stegmeyer Mansion. Paul Bradigan. We lost him July 25th this year. He was 87. He was living in Virginia. He had a long struggle with Parkinson's disease. Beloved husband to the late Miriam Margaret Bradigan. Loving father to Marianne Paget and Michael Bradigan. Grandfather to John Paul Bradigan, Michael Bradigan Jr., and Connor Paget. Great-grandfather to Ian Connor Bradigan. He will truly be missed by many. He was at Dunmore High School teaching when I was there, and he had that great military bearing. He was born in Dunmore, attended Dunmore High School and the University of Scranton. After a brief teaching assignment in Baltimore, Maryland, he became a commissioned officer in the U.S. Army and was assigned to the 2nd Howitzer Battalion, 4th Field Artillery Regiment at Fort Sill, Oklahoma. Both his children were born there. He completed his active duty tour. He returned to Dunmore and accepted a teaching position at Dunmore High School, where he was a stalwart English and social studies teacher for 30 years. He also continued his service in the Army. He had numerous reserve and active duty tours over his 30 years of service to all of us, including serving as a senior operations officer for the 300th Field Hospital, Wilkes-Barre, commanding the 322nd General Hospital at Picatinny Arsenal, New Jersey, during his last tour. He retired at the rank of colonel. After retirement, Paul and his Miriam moved to Sun City in Bluffton, South Carolina. He worked at the University of South Carolina Beaufort Campus Library and was a member of St. Gregory the Great Church there. He loved animals. He loved dogs. He contributed and gave his time generously to the Catholic Church, the National Wildlife Federation, the Public Broadcasting Service, and ASPCA. A good man who was sad to see lost, Paul Breezy Bradigan, late of Dunmore. Our great veteran this hour, brought to you by John Basiliga and the Basiliga Hospitality Group. AccuWeather forecast today: humid, passing shower, followed by a couple of showers and maybe a heavy thunderstorm this afternoon, high 82. Tonight, showers and a heavier thunderstorm, down to 64. Tomorrow, clouds giving way to some sun, humid with a thunderstorm in parts of the area. Another great water park day at Montage, high of 82, low 57. Saturday, even better to go to Montage. Less humid with sunshine and a few clouds. A beautiful start to the weekend, high of 83, low 58. Sunday, intervals of bright sunshine with a shower in spots, humid, high 85, low 66. Monday, humid with intervals of clouds and sunshine, an afternoon shower in spots, high 83, low 65. And that's your weather, brought to you by the great gang at Montage Mountain, where end of the year features for the water park are all over the place. Go to the website or go to Montage and experience a great water park right here. Yes, it does make you feel good. So does Tina Morocco, Global Sales Advisor at Sotheby's International Realty, Naples, Florida. You can reach her at Sotheby's, their website, or just by calling, or go right to the source. Tina Morocco, Muracco, and that's at tinamorocco.com or on any social media. Your trusted guide to Florida real estate, specializing in Southwest Florida, Tina Morocco. And without further ado, here she is. Hi, Tina.
Hey, Bob. How are you?
I'm doing great. When your theme song comes on, and it's without fail, it just peps me up and gets me revived.
Well, I'm glad.
So tell us, what's on your mind today?
Sure. So this morning I was out for a walk, and I walked past a marina that has a fishing, fishing boats and things like that. And I saw all these crab traps, and I'm thinking, those look like stone crab traps, but it's not stone crab season. I wonder what it is. And then I thought about it, and it turns out it's Florida lobster season here.
Really?
So, yeah. So I don't know if you've ever had a Florida lobster. They're spiny lobsters. They're kind of pretty, actually, but they're tiny. They're, max like 3 or 4 pounds. But there's lobster season here. It's about 8 months, so it's a pretty long season. But it's a different flavor than regular lobster. It's kind of lighter and, not as rich, I would say, as, a traditional Maine lobster. But yeah, we have lobster season here. They get caught by traps, but a lot of people also like to do spear fishing with them. So they get on their boats and go out, and snorkel and kind of spear them.
Wow.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. But that ties into what's happening right now in the next few weeks. So in the next few weeks, we have in September every year, we have sizzle dining here in Southwest Florida. And that's kind of like restaurant week in Northeast PA. Where a lot of the restaurants here, we have 3-course meals that are price fixed. And I would say hundreds of restaurants here participate in it. And it's also a charity event. So a portion of the proceeds benefit Blessings in a Backpack. It's an organization that provides meals for underprivileged children. So a lot of people love this time of year because, they can try out these restaurants, 3-course meals, and just do good for, a local charity here. So you will see the Florida lobster on some of these menus.
And everybody brags about cold water lobster, but do you like the Florida lobster?
Oh, it's really good. It's really good. Like I said, it's lighter. It's definitely seafood. It's like a shellfish, kind of taste. It's just, it's good. It's good on pasta, and it's good, you see it a lot like you would a traditional lobster.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely something to try here in Florida.
How long did you watch these guys preparing their cages or their traps?
So they stack all the cages up. There's hundreds of cages. And so they do this for stone crab season, too. And so they'll gradually take them out every day and place the traps. I watched it for a couple minutes, but, they're there for hours.
Neat.
They'll take them out on the boats, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Florida lobster season is upon us. And once again, something we didn't expect and didn't know has been brought to us by Tina Morocco.
Spiny lobsters.
Oh, we love it. Thank you so much, Tina. Always a great pleasure. We're talking to you tomorrow, I hope, right?
Sounds good. Yeah.
All right.
Definitely.
Have a
All
great
right.
day,
Bye.
Tina.
You too.
Tina
Bye.
Morocco, your global sales advisor at Sotheby's International Realty in Naples, but she is also available through Sotheby's or Tina Morocco, MURACCO.com. I follow her on Instagram under Tina Morocco. I absolutely love it. There's all neat stuff, plus great properties. And she is your trusted guide for Florida real estate, specializing in Southwest Florida. That's our Tina Morocco. Blue Oyster Cult. Murph tells us this date, 1978, they were in concert at the Edgewater Sports Park, Cleveland, Ohio. Their encore was Don't Fear the Reaper. Bob Cordaro back with you on the program. I'll tell you, this book, it's a really important time in history that was overlooked. And John Jenkins hit it, summer of 71. I recommend it. And I enjoy it myself. I'm enjoying it myself. Well written, well researched too, by the way. Defense argument continues, closing argument in the Clancy trial. And he's a little bit more, the lawyer, Kevin Reddington, he's a little bit more, I don't know what histrionic. He's waving his arms and he's got a lot of boards he's showing them and things. He showed all the medications that his client was on. He's really just doing a great job for her. Yeah. Somebody asked, does Tina sell homes in Northeast Pennsylvania? She can. Yes, she can. So you know. Somebody texts in, so the moral of the story is that government overreach never stops, meaning the moral of the summer of 71. I don't know that that's the lesson of it. I think it shows you, though. See, Richard Nixon, and I'm in some ways a Richard Nixon fan because I thought he had a great foreign policy and a great foreign policy way about him. But unfortunately, he didn't care about domestic policy. And he let a lot of things slide. And one thing, I don't want to get into the politics of it with the author, with John Jenkins, but the Democrats of 1971 were starkly different than the Democrats of today. They were not communists by any means. Totally different times in terms of the Democrat Party. There were radical elements in the protest groups, but they had something to protest over at least. They weren't making it up like they do today. 10:50 on my Picardo watch. Robert Palmer. Murph tells us this date, 1988, he moved from number 12 to number 5 with his hit Simply Irresistible. Bob Cordaro back with you on the program. The prosecution has begun its closing argument, so this case is definitely going to the jury. I mean, this fairly unlikable woman, the prosecutor, she can't go on more than an hour. She will really tick off the jury. They've been listening all day to the instructions and then the closing argument of the prosecution, or the defense rather, and now the closing argument of the prosecution. They'll have had enough of it by the time their stomachs are growling at noon. So we'll see how this goes. Hey, guess who's with us? Judy Zabel from the Eagle Forum giving us a conference update. How are you?
Hey, I'm wonderful. I'm excited and I'm happy. That's going some. Our conference is September 24th through 26th in Nashville. I was able to find a donor to pay for scholarships for people to go.
Nice.
We have about 10 people going down, which is more than Pennsylvania has ever had at any of our conferences. And we are excited to introduce these people that are going to our organization. Many of them have never been to an Eagle Forum meeting, let alone a conference, and they're going to come away overwhelmed with knowledge. There's just so much wrong with our country that we need to address, and so only so much we can do. But we are an army. We are an army of many from a platoon of one. And when Phyllis started this in 1972, she was one person, and we have become an army of many, fighting for faith, family, and freedom.
Judy Zabel, tell me how people could get involved with Eagle Forum other than this particular trip.
EagleForum.org is our national website. If they're interested in Pennsylvania Eagle Forum, they need to email me at paeagleforum@gmail.com. I will put you on my mailing list. I also will be starting a web page very soon for Pennsylvania Eagle Forum. I have a friend who is helping me with that because I'm old and I don't catch on to these things real quick. So she's going to help me, and I will call you back when I get that up and running.
Okay.
But paeagleforum@gmail.com.
Well, thank you very much as always, Judy. We appreciate what you're doing and what Eagle Forum is doing, and we'll talk to you again soon, all right?
Okay, Bob. Thanks so much.
All right. You take care. Sweep hand of my Bacardo's watch tells me we're headed to 11 o'clock. Somebody texted in, speaking of, how come there was no protest this summer? Oh, wait. USAID has been defunded. Act Blue is under investigation. And the Southern Poverty Law Center has been indicted. Weird how that works. Yeah. Nobody's around to pay for them to protest. These idiots. Oh, Lord. 11 o'clock on my Bacardo's watch. We'll be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Great good morning, everyone, because you know that battle goes on. It's 11:05 a.m. on my Cordaro Jewelers watch. This beautiful Thursday, August 27th, year of our Lord 2026. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, and it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values, and honor, with the help of our man John Basiliga and his great Basiliga Hospitality Group, the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like Paul Breezy Bradigan, former Dunmore teacher, Michael Bernowskis, Dixon City, Kenneth Dolph, Lake Waynwood, Lake Ariel, and Peter Latona, Pittston. So with history, our amazing founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. Gaveling back to order after that brief news adjournment. Today's meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising that our deep and unalterable commitment to common sense will provide a sanctuary of sanity to all of you who hearken here. And the news is so exciting, I have to relay it to you. The Bob Cordaro Show has been approved by the FDA as idiot medicine. Yes, this program is a proven cure for idiocy. Now, you can't just hear and get triggered. You have to actually listen. And you'll learn the facts, truth, and reality to relieve you of your idiocy. And I'm not saying it can't reoccur, but I'm saying we can cure you. Please listen. It's very important. At least to me, it's important that you get better. It really is. And again, we're giving you this opportunity. So we've got so much going on, and we truly love all of these events that are going on. We had an author, Summer of 71, John Jenkins, on previously. And it's important stuff that we're trying to bring to you. It's not an interview show, strictly speaking, but we like to talk to people who are doing interesting things. And one of those people who is doing it, as far as I'm concerned anyway, is Gerson Moreniario. And she is with us now. He is with us now. My apologies. Welcome, Gerson, to the program. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
Good, good. Tell me, what is happening in your world that you want us to know about?
Well, we have a fantastic event here, October 1, at Cornerstone University in Grand Rapids, Michigan, entitled "Why Not Communism? A Wisdom Conversation on Faith, Freedom, and the Future of America." And we're bringing distinguished panelists, two individuals who defected from China and North Korea, Seth Dillon from the Babylon Bee, one of the world's experts in Russian literature. And, we want our community to know, students to know, to think deeply about the evils of communism and socialism, the exceptional greatness of our country, the Constitution, the Declaration, and the importance of a beautiful Christian worldview as a foundation for all of these things, and to really uncover the evils of the socialist specter and communist specter that so many seem to be, thrilled about right now. And so it's a great opportunity for us to educate the community and our students.
We're talking with Cornerstone University President Gerson Moreno-Riano. Now, is it the, indoctrination of education over the last few decades that has led to this total ignorance of what socialism and communism are?
Absolutely. I think for decades, the American higher ed establishment has done a very effective job of, first of all, arguing that America is evil, that the West is evil, and that we should disband it, overthrow it, ignore it, number one. And number two, in various ways, stealthily and not so stealthily, suggest that communism and socialism are a better way of life, a better way for human beings. And so what you have when you have a educational establishment that oversees the education of 20 to 30 million people in our country for decades saying this, and very few lights out there saying the opposite or teaching the opposite, you have a problem. And I think we're seeing the problem now. I don't think it's too late, but I think we really, really have to work very hard now to declare what is true, beautiful, and good.
Now, Abdul El Sayed, to me, he is the merger of this Islamist, communist bent, which is appealing to a certain amount of people who are completely ignorant of it or who are in on the gag and they're going to benefit from it. Does he strike that as you? He's got some charisma, but
right.
I mean his beliefs are insane, and he believe me, he wants Sharia law.
Well, that's the thing. Is he really Democrat, communist, and Islamist? Is he both? Is he one or the other? My sense from what I've heard and read and seen him say is that he really is using the Democratic Socialist Communist platform as a entry point for something else. And I think that's the real issue. And I think someone needs to be able, or many need to be able to basically cry out, the emperor has no clothes. Let's tell you what this is really about.
Yeah.
And do it courageously and do it effectively and do it truthfully. I think we still have that opportunity here in Michigan. You know, he won mainly because of progressives pushing him over, but it was only by 1%. He won the Ann Arbor area. He won the Grand Rapids area. But if you look at Metro Detroit, he did not win Metro Detroit.
Really? Okay.
So, no, he did not. So I think there are opportunities to really uncover this whole situation truthfully. But I think it's very important for those who are concerned to get the vote out. I think if the electorate in Michigan goes out, it's not going to happen. But if we stay sleeping like sometimes we do here, we're going to have a problem.
So you mentioned Metro Detroit. I'm thinking in terms of voting blocks, the African-American vote. So they didn't go for him.
They did not.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? It's interesting.
Well, I think, first of all, his messaging, he has not been – I don't think he has made the case that he is going to move that community forward any better than the traditional Democrats have, quite frankly. And I think it's a tremendous opportunity for individuals to show that there is a better way to advance the flourishing of the community, of the black community in Detroit, than the Abdul El-Sayed way or the DSA way or the Democrat way. I think it's the opportunity. He's not made that case. So I think there are still people out there, many who are wondering, a lot of hoopla, a lot of charisma, as you rightly put it, but is there real substance, not just for immediate change, but long-term benefit? I think most are skeptical of it. But again, the question needs to be, how can we expose this for what it really is and talk about it? And it's absolutely essential, not just for the future of Michigan, it's for the future of our country. Whenever you have these kinds of candidates out there, they seize upon popular discontent among Gen Z and others, but they have very little substance. And I think it is up to others to flesh that out and show that there are better options for the future.
So it's Mike Rogers, right, that he's running against?
Correct.
Here's a solid, sort of traditional, in many ways, Republican, veteran, congressman. He's got all the credentials. He should blow this guy out by all intents and purposes. What are you seeing right now as we head into Labor Day?
Well, I think he has the opportunity to do it, right? But I think he has to bring substance that everybody understands. I think one of the issues oftentimes with conservatives or the GOP, if you go up there and you start talking about economic figures and charts, as true and factual as they may be, you lose people. You just do. You have to be able to tell a powerful story that's real, true, factual, that demonstrates the beauty and the power of a different way of thinking, of free enterprise, of traditional morality grounded in the Christian worldview, of the exceptionalism of America. You have to be able to tell that story. If you don't tell that story and you fall prey to the discontent that everyone has in some way, shape, or form, you're not going to win. You won't win. So you have to change the sandbox in which you're playing. I think he has the opportunity to do that. Will he take it and run with it? I don't know. If you saw the Abdul interview with Jesse Waters just a few days ago, he's a master at not answering questions, number one, and he's a master at proposing his own question, his own sandbox to play in. And I think anyone who goes up against him has to be different.
Cornerstone University President Gerson Moreno-Riano is our guest. Tell us, we know the long-term solution is to take back the indoctrination in our education, particularly college education. But what can we do right now? Because the threat is imminent.
No, it is. I think you have to, your listeners and others have to support the institutions that are doing this right. And that's absolutely essential. I tell our students, parents, community, donors, philanthropists, anyone, support Cornerstone. Let me tell you why. We've just remapped our entire core curriculum to focus on the wisdom of the American experience, where our students will read 50 foundational documents of America. We create a new honors program to do the similar things to advance the beauty of the Christian worldview and the importance of being prepared for the market. So I think we need to find the institutions that are doing this well, support those institutions, give them a voice. That's absolutely essential, number one. Number two, we have to get involved. In Michigan, oftentimes we're referred to as dormant here, right? Yeah. And if you look at the voting rolls, a lot of folks just don't turn out. We'll complain afterwards, but we have not turned out.
Yeah.
And I think we have to do that. We cannot just stay silent thinking this is a flash in the pan. I think we need to put it to bed now. And one of the ways we do it is not just supporting great educational institutions like Cornerstone University, but also be involved. Go out there, participate, vote, attend meetings, speak out. I mean, that's what you see in Loudoun County when parents begin to get involved. All of a sudden, parents became a block and talked about the importance of parental involvement in education, and the conversation began to shift. So it takes what I call embodied courage to get involved, to attend meetings, to ask questions, to be firm, to ask tough questions, to hold people accountable, to vote. I will tell you, the power of people doing that is incredible. And you see the DSA doing that, by the way. Mm-hmm. You see them do this. I think we need more people who love America, individuals who care deeply about its future, care deeply about free enterprise, the beautiful Judeo-Christian worldview, being out there, getting involved. If we don't do that, then democracy becomes monolithic, and it will end up in the wrong side of things.
How do people check out Cornerstone University?
Thank you. It's cornerstone.edu. That's the website, www.cornerstone.edu. You will see all of our wonderful programs, our new innovative SOAR platform, our core curriculum, and happy to give you all a VIP tour in Grand Rapids, Michigan, if you're ever here.
We cannot say enough about people like yourself, organizations like Cornerstone University that are fighting the orthodoxy in higher education, and we appreciate it so much, and we look forward to having you on again.
Thank you, Bob, and I really appreciate that you're FDA approved. I got to tell you, that was fantastic. I thought, my gosh, that was amazing.
Thank you so much. Cornerstone University President Gerson Moreno-Riano, Michigan-based university. Check them out, Cornerstone. Thank you again, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
We'll take a break. We'll be back 11:19 on the Bob Cordaro Show and on my Picardo's Watch. Sadly, Murph tells us this date, 1990, Stevie Ray Vaughan, the pilot, and 3 members of Eric Clapton's band killed in a helicopter crash in Elkhorn, Wisconsin after a concert. Murph picked pride and joy for our man Stevie Ray. And, of course, back in 2008, Barack Obama nominated to become an incredibly mediocre and divisive president of the United States at the Democrat National Convention. Fascinating. And now he's turned into a complete arrogant ass. That's literally what he is. He's an arrogant ass. Sad. Someone texting, yeah, the whole DSA thing is completely confusing. The people who want to eat the rich want to steal from the poor and give to the rich? Is that what's going on here? These crazy kids are hard to keep up with. And another off topic, but kind of shows the world we are in. Driving home yesterday, a road that was just paved had lines painted on it. I've never seen anything like the terrible job they did. It's on the Harding area page on Facebook. It says Body Shop Guy. Well, if Body Shop Guy said it's horrible painting, he knows his painting. So he's right. And we'll go with him on that. So we're headed towards Labor Day. I cannot believe, I don't know about you guys, I cannot believe how quickly time is moving. It's just, your life just vanishes. Cutie and I are starting to watch a show called The Westies. And it's about the Irish hoodlums on the west side of Manhattan and their interaction with the Italian gangs, particularly the Gambino family. And it's pretty well done. It really is. Some good actors in it, and it's enjoyable. But I think to myself, when I'm watching these shows, which I love to watch, time is vanishing on me. Like, shouldn't I be doing something else, something more important? And then I think, well, the radio show in its own little way is something important. So I'm not wasting my time. But, wow, did any of you also feel this? It's like time accelerated. I remember this so distinctly. I'm in 3rd grade, all right, at St. Anthony's grade school. And we had a rather dour nun teaching us. And, you know, in those days, you didn't move classes. You might have 1 or 2 different teachers at St. Anthony's in a given day. But I just remember how slowly time was moving. And, I mean, I'm like, I wish I could get that back. My other option is to go back to prison. Because, I always say this, I said, if I find out I have 6 months to live, I'm going to go back to prison because it'll last forever. But, I mean, is anyone else finding that to be the case? Time is just flying by. And there's no way to slow it down. There's no way to, I guess, experience it slower. Like even these three little hours we do, they go by so quickly. I don't even, I look up and it's like we only have a half hour left. 3 hours should be a long time. And I ran across a picture of myself when I did the television show with our man Joe Barna. Guys, I'm telling you, I urge you to watch that. He really got into his military experiences and his life experiences. And that's our man Joe Barna, Bob Cordaro Show on TV. Mary Regina tells you, yeah, I feel like time's going by so fast. I don't even know how to capture it. By the way, John Jenkins, our author, he he says he had texted me. He says, "Thank you for bringing me on the show this morning." He is an Imus fan. And some of you may know this, some of you may not. When I owned radio stations back in the old days, I had Imus. I was one of the first 4 stations in the country to simulcast Imus. That's how I got to know Bo Dietl. But he says, when this Imus fan saw Bo Dietl on your website, I knew it would be good. I said, I want to talk to him again, John Jenkins. He was really good. And he remembers that. Look, that was the intelligentsia. Listen to the Imus show. And Imus drove the conversation. We don't really have that now. Remember, you had Imus and Rush Limbaugh at the same time. And they drove the conversation. Rush for conservatives, but Imus for the media. And it kept them in check. I don't think people appreciated how important the Imus show was. Because once it was syndicated, it was listened to by all the power people in New York, all the power people in D.C. And he kept them in line, really, literally, because they didn't want to incur his wrath by being idiots like they are today, because he would have called them out on it, like Jake Tapper, one of the chief defenders that pretended Biden wasn't going bonkers, and then he writes a book about it without any shame. It's like Shapiro. Shapiro fast-tracks data centers. As soon as the people are rising up against it, he pretends like Stacey Garrity's the problem with data centers. It's insane. And they do it without shame, and people who are not paying close attention fall for it. It's crazy stuff. Somebody thinks an LTS life is like a roll of toilet paper. The closer you get to the end, the faster it comes off the roll. Well, it'll take time. Somebody says, Bob, take a vacation. Time will slow down that way. No, it doesn't. Went to the Avalon a couple of weeks back, and it was zip, gone. Somebody else, Bob LTS, back at you. I remember when I was about 20 years old and thinking in the year 2000 I'll be 30. And that has come and gone like a blur. Slick. You know it's slick. Unbelievable. And by the way, I didn't even imagine as I was growing up the year 2026. Didn't even imagine it. Incredible. All right, we got to take a break because it's 11:31 on my Ricardo's watch. We'll come back with the Veterans Tribute, the weather, and then if he can hang in there, Kevin from Duryea, and more of your calls at 570-883-0098. We'll be back. Our Veterans Tribute this hour, as with every hour, this day, as with every day, brought to you by our man, John Basiliga. And as it's Thursday and it's time to think about going out tonight, tomorrow, Saturday, we talk about all the great facilities in the Basiliga Hospitality Group, like 3 great bar restaurants. The Queen City Tavern, downtown Elephant, right on the main drag. The Far Street Tavern on Far Street in the great Trips Park section of West Scranton. And the Old Brook Inn on 307 Springbrook Township. And then we go to the fine dining, Atera 519, one of the most gorgeous restaurants you'll ever be in. And new chef Alex Diaz, he's adjusted the prices and the menu and has created a bar menu so you can hang out and enjoy a little bit of something during happy hour. And I will tell you, awesome. I'm telling you, I'll be there this weekend. Stegmeyer Mansion, downtown Wilkes-Barre. Fine dining, an amazing experience in an old world setting that cannot be duplicated. And guess what? No cover charge at Sergei's, the nightclub, right below Atera 519. Peter Latona. We lost him August 14th. He was 85. Peter lived in Pittston. He was a proud United States Marine Corps veteran, husband, father, grandfather, and great-grandfather. He shared 65 years of marriage with his beloved wife, Dora. A remarkable testament to a life built together through love, loyalty, and hard work. In addition to his parents, he was preceded in death by his brothers, Louis, Leo, my old pal Joe, Sam, sisters Louise Navarro and Grace Saporito. Surviving are his children, Connie and Joseph Latona, along with his wife, Patty. 5 grandchildren, 6 great-grandchildren. An amazing legacy. His family says Peter Latona was a Marine through and through. He carried strength, determination, and toughness with him throughout his entire life. He was known as a tough guy, but beneath that toughness was a man deeply loved by his family and by everyone fortunate enough to know him. He enjoyed the simple things in life, hunting, a home-cooked meal, watching Judge Judy. Peter Latona was a devoted Catholic, a man of faith. His strength, humor, perseverance, and unmistakable personality will live on through his children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and the countless memories they shared. He leaves behind a legacy of service to his country, devotion to his family, and a strength that will never be forgotten. Peter Latona, our great veteran this hour, brought to you by our man John Basiliga and the Basiliga Hospitality Group. AccuWeather forecast brought to you by Montage Mountain, where the water park is in full swing even as summer slips away from all of us. Check out Montage Mountain and their website because they've got great specials for end of summer events at the water park, and another great water park week and a day today. Humid today, passing morning shower, we've already had that. Couple of showers and a heavy thunderstorm later this afternoon, so you can get that water park in, high 82. Tonight, showers and a heavier thunderstorm, low 64. Tomorrow, clouds give way to some sun and humid with a thunderstorm in parts of the area, high 82, low 57. Saturday, less humid with sunshine and a few clouds, a beautiful start to the weekend, high 83, low 58. Sunday, intervals of bright sunshine with a shower in spots. Humid, high 85, low 66. Monday, humid with intervals of clouds and sunshine. An afternoon shower in spots, high 83, low 65. And that's your weather from the great gang at Montage Mountain, where in the waning days of summer, the water park is hopping, and it's 75 degrees there right now. Favorite Pearl Jam song. This date, 1991, Murph tells us Pearl Jam released their album 10. And he chose Alive from that album. By the way, he texts in, summer 71, he was still in Newark. And it was exciting times to be in Newark. He says, I remember my father dressing like a soldier to go to work every day. He was a Newark police officer. He'd listen for his car to come home before he could fall asleep because things were crazy then in Newark. Also, Murph pointing out his father's mother, okay, was a Featherstone. Nephew was Mickey. That's the Westies, Mickey Featherstone. That's the show we're watching now. Hey, let's go to the blower. We got Kevin from Duryea. Kevin, how are you, man? Thanks for your patience.
That's all right, Mr. Cordaro. I'm just riffing here, waiting to talk to you. I want to talk about Paige Kanani. That's what I told your greeter. Look at her speech that we're not for sale. And what is the guy that's a three-time Trump voter? Is that a man, a woman, or is that I think it's a hermit, whatever, asexual,
It's a joke is what it is.
It's a joke.
And I can't believe the guy, if the guy voted for Trump 3 times, he can't be that much of a fool.
Yeah, I know. That's a put on. She's walking, she's strutting. Somebody that's from the Free Press are yelling at her. She just keeps walking and walking. She was down 1-2 at the beginning of August in Luzerne County. She's down by 1-4 in Luzerne County. I don't know. Lackawanna County maybe a break even for her, but she's going to get a big time spanking all the way back to Portland, Oregon, with her hand in her hand.
Well, and I said this. I will tell you this, Kevin. This is my prediction. And even though I'm predicting it, I think she'll still do it. When she loses to Rob this fall, she's going to resign as mayor of Scranton because the stepping stone will be useless to
big
her.
Time.
Yeah.
And another thing is, talk to Mr. Trump, and what's his name, needs a pardon up there in Scranton. He's done his time. He's been through, you needed a pardon too. Mr. The
Bolus,
truck driver up
Bob
there.
Bolus, yeah.
Bob Bolus needs a pardon. The ex-mayor of Scranton, good
Although
councilman.
the crimes Bob was convicted of are not federal, so Trump can't actually do that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It was during the flood.
He could do it for me, though.
Yeah, all right. Well, no, you get what you can get while the getting's good.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what? You're a stand-up guy, and I respect that. There's something to be said about the Italian mafia. I'd rather deal with the Italian mafia with a code of ethics rather than the Catholic Church and organized religion. No, honestly, I speak truth to power. To help, those guys. Look at Father Bishop Timlin died up in Quebec, Canada. My aunt was his housekeeper and cook, Mrs. Bertha Shank out of Scranton. Her son and her husband had a thing at Dunmore Corners up there, a gas station for years and years and years.
Oh, that family, great family, yeah.
Yeah, they are. They're long gone. But anyhow, Timlin died. What a bunch of Irish bishops. Come on, Bishop Hannon, Bishop this, Bishop that, all Irish guys, And, how perverted is that? We were fighting with Afghanistan. I was over there just as not in the service, but doing stuff with people. I don't know how to describe it, but I was over there. Those people live in the 3rd century. They wipe their behinds with their hands, and then they want to shake your hand. Soldiers just tell them, not that hand, get out of here, get out of here. And then they would get fragged, Yeah. These guys had explosive out. It's a shame to see our young men and women go through their volunteer, which is not, you volunteered for this. Being drafted is a whole different animal. That's the only thing Carter ever did that was meaningful to me. Besides that, he was a failed presidency. Nice guy. He was an admiral as such in the Navy. But he was such a, oh, God almighty. Thank God.
Well, Kevin,
Thank God for Ronald Reagan. You know.
Yes, he saved
Yeah.
the country. We need
Yeah,
it. It needs to be
and he was a
saved again.
union guy.
Yeah.
Coming out of
Way back,
Hollywood.
yeah.
You know.
Kevin,
Yeah,
we got to
way,
go,
way
my
back.
man, but I appreciate it
Okay,
always.
you take care of yourself. I want to talk to you about your sister-in-law someday, off of air or something. I'll use initials because I know your family very well.
All right.
KG, right? That's your sister-in-law, right?
Yeah.
Her maiden name, KG,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yes, I know her
All
very
right.
well. I haven't talked to her in years. Thank you, Mr.
Thanks,
Cordaro.
Kevin. All right.
Godspeed, baby.
All right,
Godspeed.
man. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.
We'll take a break. We'll be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Closing arguments have concluded. And there's a little bit more jury charge in the Lindsay Clancy murder trial. That's Lincoln Park. Murph tells us they moved up to number 5 on the rock charts with What I've Done. That's from August 27, 2007. And we're going to finish with what I feel every day. Jackson Brown, who recorded his stay live at the Merriweather Post Pavilion in Columbia, Maryland, this date, 1977. He didn't want to leave. And that's how I feel about hanging around with you guys so many of these days. Some days I want to get out of here. But for the most part, I want to hang with you guys for as long as I can. So, Bob, LTS, while not, I don't know, okay. I don't understand the words. So anyway, very prophetic in one respect. The modern WNBA players are nothing but racist thugs. Oh, Imus had a line. It wasn't even his line. It got him fired. He was on FAN, and then he was on, I believe at that time it was MSNBC. And Bernard McGurk said they were watching a college, it wasn't WNBA, it was a college basketball game. That's why I think it ignited so much fury. And Bernie McGurk said, oh, nappy-headed hose. And Imus repeated it, and they laughed about it. It got Imus fired. Well, our listeners saying that may be what the WNBA is now. Another, somebody says, you're right. I used to be bummed out on Sundays because I knew the next day was Monday. Not anymore, because I know now on Monday that it will be Friday before I even realize it. Oy vey, says William. LTS back at you, William. No, time's flying too quick. But I'll tell you what, I love my weekends because I love doing nothing. But, and I don't like getting up at 6 in the morning. I just don't. And so neither does Chauncey. I don't think neither does Cutie. But now Ponce the cat gets up early and starts waking us up. But Mondays, I know I'm coming back to you guys. And I mean this. So I've got no problem with the weekend ending because I get to come back with you guys. Somebody texted in regarding Pete Latona, one of our veterans we honored. Pete was married to my cousin Dora. He was a great guy. Remember riding in a dump truck with him, says Body Shop Guy. Yeah. Oh, all the Latonas are great, aren't they? They really are. Somebody says, hey, Bob, I think life is kind of like autopilot. Just like when you're driving the same route every day and you get to a certain spot and you wonder how you got there. Somebody texting back regarding the Imus imbroglio. Bob LTS, it was the Rutgers women's team that he said it about. Actually, again, that Bernie McGurk said it about, and that Imus just repeated and laughed about, and then that was it. He was fired. Long history with Imus. Those of you who are Imus fans, and it was really intelligent radio. And he was middle of the road politically, but he was common sense. He'd have Democrats and Republicans on alike, and he was just great. He was awesome, and he's missed, believe me. By the way, did you guys realize this? I cut this out to mention it to you. They're going to change the name of the Scranton-Wilkes-Barre Red Barons. I thought the Rail Riders was a dumb team, or dumb name. The Red Barons was the first name, but it was a dumb name. The Yankees. I mean, here's one of the most famous names in the world, but they switched it from the Yankees. That was nuts. Maybe they're going to go back to Scranton-Wilkes-Barre Yankees. I'm not even a Yankees fan, and I thought that was the best name. which that's what we named them when we brought them in here, the Yankees. Why not? It was one of the most popular names. George Steinbrenner could have sold the naming rights for Yankee Stadium for $1 zillion a year. And yet he still called it Yankee Stadium. Most famous name in sports. Bring it back. That's my vote. I guess they're going to unveil it in November. There was an article by Donnie Collins about all of that. In any event. The judge is, I guess, explaining, because I already saw him do the jury charge. I thought I did anyway. He's on his little podium up at the bench. But he's doing the charges. And I know he knows it's almost noon. They're getting hungry and getting cranky. And they're, after several hours of listening to the defense and prosecution, their minds are getting tired. So we'll see what they do with that. Well, we're going to let Jackson Brown finish it because he's expressing my sentiments. God willing, I will be with you tomorrow. But for now, as we approach noon on my Picardo Jewelers watch, we're going to gavel today's meeting of the Club for Common Sense to a close and tell you adios. Have a great afternoon, guys. Love being with you. Somebody suggests the Coal Crackers is the new name. I wouldn't have a problem with that, actually. We shall see. They can certainly do better than Rail Riders. Guys, have a great afternoon.